This is the second update on the windows of the Thunderbird. I just removed the front windows, front motor, front everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the undercoat, now that everything's out of the way. As you can see, stupid bastards only did the undercoat up to here. And I mentioned this previously, but this is the dumbest thing ever done, because should have done the undercoat first thing. What I'm going to do is do the undercoating on the whole thing. As you can see, this undercoating is pretty good, so they got that right. But if you are going to do it somewhere, you really got to do it at the bottom, because that's where all the water stops, not on the sides. So we're going to do that. But so I just got the motor out. Got the motor out, and of course lots of old grease there, but I just realized that they're different. We're gonna check these part numbers here, but I don't know if it's supposed to be like that, but as you can see, this one, let's bring it over here to the sun. At least the drive here is different. This one has like springs inside of it. And the gears here are a little bit different too. If you recall from that other one, it's some sort of triangular shaped steel bit. And it's different. So this has either been replaced in the past, or I very much doubt that they're supposed to be. They would have come different like that. The other thing I noticed, that this motor has this rubber here, and this side was missing the rubber. So I bet you that sort of tells me that either it was, badly done in the factory, which shows poor workmanship, or somebody played around with this. And there's just a hell of a lot of paint and silicone on it. And anyways, I'm going to start disassembling this motor. I just want to take a look inside, but I think they're pretty much done. Not the best things done in the world. You see, I've looked at I worked on various cars, and I can assure you, all of them will have a problem on the windows. All of them. It's not one of them that hasn't. Not one car or person that I know that hasn't had some issue with power windows. It's just so much more complex. You got switches, relays, wires, connectors. See that there? That's what I like. It's still not the best, because this is sort of aluminum, and I don't like that stuff. Oh shit! But you see, that's never going to give you any problems. That DeSoto is it's 72 years old, and the windows work just fine. So I'm just an example, just showing you that I'm more of a brute guy rather than a fancy guy. I like things that work, that are simple, that are durable, rather than things that are fancy and that are going to break. And these are inverse. They're inverse forces. The fancier you get, the more buttons and switches and things, wires and complications you gotta have. It's impossible to have. Very difficult to get something that's really simple and fancy at the same time. So buttons. I mean, what the hell is wrong with just using your arms to roll down a window? I mean, but anyways, we're gonna have to get some new motors. But I'm just gonna do what I can disassembling this here. I just want to see how it works. Ideally, if this was my car, and well, I mean, it technically is now, because it's under my care, but I'd really rather get some motors from eBay, or some of those Chinese ones. They're actually pretty good. They're better than these. I mean, they even have like brass parts, brass gears, which is pretty cool. And I just like to replace these ones with something simpler and easier. Might need some fabrication, but I'm pretty sure it can be done. Just gotta get the right set of gears, or I mean, that's what ideally what I'd like. Or we could get these motors, you know, fixed, and see what I can do right now. But so I'm just gonna open it up. I'm missing something. I was gonna say something, but I mean, honestly, I just rather go with, you know, normal hand cranking. Where the hell are my gloves here? Battery light is blinking. Oh yeah, what I was going to say is, if these were made in cast iron, that would be beautiful. But that's gonna be something hard to find. One day, you know, a dream of mine. I dream of being able to actually fabricate my own parts and the car. You see, the cars nowadays, especially. Well, you know what? I'm not even gonna mention cars nowadays, because they're just bits of plastic shit with wheels on them. So just not even gonna bother with talking about them. But cars, even back then, see, you think you buy a Ford and okay, it's gonna be a Ford. Ford made the car, and that's not actually how it works. It's more like Ford assembles the cars. So it's one person that does, you know, one company does the transmission, which probably was Borg Warner, did all the transmissions. Well, that's really good. And then, you know, Delco Remy made the electrical parts, or Bosch made the spark plugs. So I'd actually like to have, you know, my company, car company, just making the whole thing, all of the parts. Because that's the only way you can, you know, have complete assurance and, you know, trust and reliability. Now, when you're buying parts and things from someone else, you don't really know what they did. I mean, unless you can actually find somebody that has standards as high as mine, which is pretty much impossible. And you can, you know, get different parts and things like that, but see, aluminum isn't made for cars. Good for airplane wings and fuselage, but it's not for heavy duty, you know, wear tear parts. Besides, aluminum is more expensive than steel. I hate how they change. If I ever make a car, it's going to have one design for a motor. It might change the layout, like the design, exterior design, but it's going to have, you know, one or maybe three, no more than three engine options. And all of them are going to have like heavy duty transmissions. Maybe two or three options, but it's going to be one option is going to be the same forever. There's not going to be different versions and every year changing a little bit and changing this. It's going to be one and only. Alright, so these nuts, bolts, whatever the hell they're out. So give it like that. Yeah, well, there's just a lot of gunk and garbage inside these little motors. See, I'm going to tell you guys a defect right here. When you make walls these thin, then it's easier for dirt and junk to get inside. If they were to make it thicker, or at least the flange here, so that it's really wide, you can sit a nice gasket there, and you could actually throw it underwater and it wouldn't get wet or have any problems. But you see, it's just aluminum warps easily. It's just no good. Cast aluminum would have been a little bit better, but so let's see if we can get this thing out. I wonder if we have to take something out here in the back. So get a hammer and tap it. Soft, it's malleable, it's not good. If there's any hope for these little motors. They're seized up pretty bad. I'm just going to try to clean everything up and see if I can rescue them, but otherwise I'll just be getting new motors. This thing is so seized up in there. Normally, for normal motors, if they're in good condition, this would just pop right out like that, but it's stuck in there. It's funny, the manual has nothing on disassembling or servicing these motors, and not even on like brushes.